Joe.
Morning. Ready? It is 9 o'clock. I'll call the Board of Public Safety meeting to order. Begin with the minutes of the last meeting.
Motion to approve the May 11th.
Motion is second to approve the minutes from the May 11th meeting. All those in favor signify by stating aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Any amendments today? Hearing none, starting with new business. The first is the Tipton Trails, both Jackson and Steve Raver.
Morning.
Good morning.
Your agenda. Steve Raver, Tipton Trails. We have another 5K planned. I've got Jackson Muncie with me here this morning. He's going to step up and give you a little information and answer any questions that you might have.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So basically, we'll make it quick. Just a basic rundown of the 5K is that it's on May 30th on Saturday at 10:30 starts registration. The 5K goes off at 11:30. So the path is going to be following Madison Street down to West Street. We're going to take West Street all the way down to the park. We're going to take official Tipton Trails by that point throughout the park all the way to Fairgrounds Road. From Fairgrounds Road, we plan on crossing at 19 across into the elementary parking lot. And then from there, it just goes on the school's property until we cross Madison Street and back to the West Street and Madison Street to end and start at the Mat Tap. So basically the 5K is for pedestrian safety awareness during high traffic times of the month, trying to just promote safety and just people looking out for traffic and stuff. So that way no injuries in the town or city occur. So the only major concern I can think of is crossing 19. I don't know if we are going to have a police officer there at this point. I put in a order for the street closure. I don't think it's been signed yet. At least I haven't received the signed form back yet.
This might be for you. This was left on my desk and it said, I have not heard back from police on this. It goes to Border Works Tuesday. Normally I scan it and send it back to them after approved, Jackson, but ... So I don't know if this is for you, but it was signed except for the police. Hadn't approved it yet.
It has been emailed back. It was emailed, I think it was emailed back that day, wasn't it? Or the day after.
So they sent one, and immediately the next morning, it was after, I think after hours.
Oh, okay, I
When
see.
they sent it immediately the next morning, she sent another one. I think you and Adam had said that you'd like to see a map. There was a map on the first one, just wasn't on the second one. We went back and looked at it. We gave our recommendations that we approved, as long as you know that when they cross 19, that they do have someone there. And we all approved it. So
And I can elaborate. The 19 and Fairgrounds were farther down. We've agreed to put an officer there during that time.
Okay.
Just because it's crossing 3 lanes of traffic.
Yeah.
The only other addendum I put on there was they need to cross at the crosswalk where the school does, right there at Park, when they come back out of the school,
Mhm.
because there's no sidewalks on Park Road.
Yep.
On that aspect, and I don't want people running on Park Road. So that's the only addendum is you have to run by the tennis courts and cross the crosswalk, and they already provide someone there high visibility to block traffic, because we don't have manpower to put 2 officers there.
Sure.
Which just puts us in a bad spot. But the 19, we will have someone there, even if it's me has to go out there, someone's gonna block the 19 just because that's too much traffic. So that was the only addendum that I put in that email when I sent it back was, as long as they cross at the crosswalk, they provide someone to make sure traffic stops there.
Yep.
That was the only addendum we had.
Okay.
So as long as they're willing to do that.
We have people.
As
already-
are you guys agreeable to those?
Yeah, and we have people already planning on.
Perfect.
Governor knows spots. I want to say too, when we did the one in November,
Mhm.
We had a couple
That's what I was
officers
thinking.
out there. They did an excellent job.
Mhm.
You know, mainly they stayed in their vehicle, which showed real wisdom on their part.
Yeah.
It wasn't chill anymore.
Okay, so then this 5K route and request comes to the Board of Works, approved by all department heads.
So it's been approved by
Yep.
everybody.
Yep.
Everybody got this thing, it's approved. Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the closure.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the 5K route and closure. All those in favor signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed?
You're in charge, you're the head guy on this.
Motion passes.
It's actually Chelsea again.
Yeah.
Then why is she here?
She's working. She's got a whole, she's back here sometime, yeah. And hey, we gotta have some younger blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Thanks, guys.
The organizer can't also be the winner. Is
That's
that was
right.
the deal?
Oh.
Very good. Moving on to the Tip the Main Streets kick off the summer. Patty with us this morning.
Hi, everyone. We were just asking for closure again for kickoff to summer. And we're asking for basically just Court Street between Madison and Jefferson. And we'll have the yard games, food trucks, and bouncy houses and a band. The only thing that we required was the barricades, cones, and the trash bins, and everything. Clean up as normal, stick around, do all of that. And we have gotten approval from everyone, but
No problem.
that's it, 10A to 6P.
I'll make a motion to approve the temporary closure for Main Street.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the closure of Court Street on 6/20/2026 from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you very much.
Pray for good luck.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yes, good weather this year, so we don't have to reschedule.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Moving to department business, under my report, a few updates from East Street is scheduling its final walkthrough. You remember that is a stormwater and asphalt project that's been completed over East Street, Jackson, and parts of Independence. So we're doing a final walkthrough with the utility. That utility had a couple other improvements, sanitary and water in that area. So making sure all that is finalized as it works through complete closure from the project perspective. Park paving project, we've now secured bids for that work. We expanded some of the scope to add some drainage as we've learned through, especially by the pavilion back in the park area. It likes to hold water, so trying to create some solution there if we're going to pave all that to make sure that that drains with this heavy rainfall that we seem to be getting. So we should be moving on that project with the park here in the summer months as a part of that park district bond we secured last year. And then baseball is continuing to move forward with the better weather last week and forecasted weather this week. We should be catching up. The rain had pushed us out on some of the stormwater improvements, so that should be getting completed and prepped for the fields should be the primary focus of the month of June. So once we can get all the major utilities installed and the irrigation lines, they'll start building those fields from the bottom up. Completes my report this morning.
One question.
Go ahead.
The park entrance there to the West Street with the arch, I mean, What
Question.
additional work is gonna be done there? I mean, I'll ask, how soon will a fuel tank?
Yeah. So that fuel tank is part of
Yeah.
Midwest. So once we get the projects all into final closeout, all that will be then removed from that site. We're going to stripe that parking area. Now that's in asphalt, and in that front area there'll be some grass buffer, and then the remainder will be sidewalk. So you see the ADA
entrance into that parking will be through the arch?
from a vehicle perspective. Yes, I think our plan from a sidewalk is to add
Well, I
an
know
extra.
Sidewalk down South Street's been, that project's been interrupted, so.
Correct.
The sidewalk from the arch to Main is on hold until.
So the reason they got put on hold is because
Yeah.
of the water line, the water main
Yeah, I'm
underneath.
just wondering if everything gonna be any work made between the arch and say the.
It's still our hope that that's going to get completed this summer.
Okay.
That's the last
I'm
update
just
that I
anxious
heard
for
from the
that area to
utility.
get
Yes.
cleaned up, and looking nice.
Yep. Hopefully by the end of summer, beginning of fall, all that work in that area should be
Good.
finalized.
Thank you.
Fire department, Chief Benner.
Morning.
Good morning.
Any questions over the April revenue numbers? So we've had some garage door repairs, broken springs on overhead doors. We replaced the spring, then they noticed that they had, they replaced the spring, and then one of the civilian paramedics was walking over to the truck for a run. And as it was opening, something broke again and the door dropped and narrowly missed her. Thank God it did not get her. So then they had to come back and replace some parts that were broken in the actual opener. I believe everything is all taken care of with that and we're good to go. The extrication tools had their annual maintenance, no repairs needed. They said they were in great shape. So we did a fantastic job of keeping them clean and up to date. We repainted our day room and kitchen, had some new flooring put in. Tyler Davis, that works for us, has Davis Commercial Flooring as a side job. He gave us the epoxy flooring and the chips at material costs if we helped them out with the labor of removing the old flooring and putting the new flooring down. So we now have uniform floors throughout the station, so looks much better. The annual hose testing has started. Everything is done except for, I believe, the engine. And I believe they've got the hand lines tested on that, so they've got LDH and some 3-inch tests on that, and then everything will be done. The guys cleaned the gutters on the back garages, cleaned out the back garage. Our cart 10 is out of service. There's something in the internal in the transmission has broken. Assistant Chief Ogden has searched, made phone calls. He cannot get a hold of anybody that makes that part anymore. So we're not sure what to do with that. If we are still wanting to have a cart for the different festivals and things that we've used it for, then it might have to be looked at trading in, getting a replacement.
How old is that?
Probably at least 12 years, I would say. Somewhere around in there.
How often do the police use their golf cart?
Not very often.
Milling and paving around the public safety building has been completed. It's a lot nicer driving around there now. The street department has told us that they will come up and restripe our parking spaces when they have some time. So we're looking forward to getting that done and be complete with that. The county maintenance man came up and got 71 boxes of old city court documents and moved out to their new storage facility, so that frees up quite a bit of room in the back storage facility. We do have EMT students. There's a class being put on in the county again. Those students are doing their ride-alongs with Medic 10. Jordan Crane has started refinishing our kitchen cabinets. Myself and Ross Schulenberg have started working on the 2027 budget. I had a meeting with NextEra Energy Resources 2 weeks ago, I believe it was. They're the ones that are looking at putting in a battery energy storage facility at 400 West and Old State Road 28. Initially met with him last August. That was the guy that was initially starting things, and the lady that will be in charge of everything, she came and met with me a couple weeks ago, just did some introductions, get familiar with everybody. So whenever they do have some planning and coordination, they're familiar with who they're talking with and who we would be talking with. We had the TAC meeting last week with BMT Capital concerning the fourplex apartment in between Second Street Mall and Hortons. Staffing, we are full for now. I did have an employee tell me that he is in 3 different hiring processes at the moment. Our 2 new hires are settling in nicely, getting comfortable in their roles, learning everything that they need to be doing. I believe one of them at least has already been released to work on Medic 10 by himself with the medic. We did get the fire officer strategy and tactics class completed, and the assistance firefighters grant process is open, I believe, until June 22nd, maybe. I believe that's when it closes.
Yeah.
Public programs, events, the Union, Local 1979. One of the things when we did the golf tournament last year was not to just hoard all the money, it was to give back to the community. They've done, I believe it's the My Closet at the middle school, they made a big donation to. As summer months are rolling around, finally had the official city pool opening yesterday. Beautiful day for it. We're looking to sponsor some pool days with some of that money given back. So free entry for anyone that would go on those days. So, and then the last thing is the workplace evaluation, work performance evaluation, SOG, that I mentioned a couple months ago about. Didn't know if you and Matt wanted to make changes to or go ahead and approve.
I didn't have any edits, so I think what we were waiting for is that official, I don't know, drafting of the policy from Matt, or if he just need to, so I'll circle back with him to see where that's at.
And that's all I have, unless you guys have any questions for me.
With the battery storage facility, as of now, is there anything they made you aware of that would require us to increase either staffing or equipment?
No, actually, they say in the very unlikely event that there is an incident involving one of their facilities. So basically what they have is they have internal temperature monitoring on every one of these small, if you call it building. They basically look like Connex boxes out there that have the battery energy storage inside it. They have temperature monitoring inside every one of those. Everything is remotely monitored. If that temperature starts to rise beyond or at a rate higher than what it should, they can remotely shut everything down from there. If there should happen to be a thermal runaway with one of them that they can't get shut down in time, the only thing we have to do is evacuate downwind. They say don't even enter the fenced in area. We've got technicians that'll come and take care of everything. Basically, we just have to block off the area, don't let anybody in unless it's technician, and evacuate downwind.
How big of an area do you have to evacuate, did they say?
They did not.
Okay.
And I'm sure it will probably depend on how strong the wind is. But
I'm still trying to understand some coverage. So if something did happen there, who's responsible to respond?
that is Cicero Township's area.
So
If
why are they talking to you?
they
I'm
like to talk to anybody that could be responding and be familiar with them. So because if Cicero Township was busy on another call
Yeah.
and something happened out there, we would be the ones responding. So
So it's Cicero Township. I get.
they have spoken with them as
I get a
well.
little
They've,
confused on the coverage. It
yes,
seems like.
they've met with them as well. They like to cover all their bases with anybody that could be responding. And I've let them know that is outside of my jurisdiction. If it is technically reported as a possible fire or a large hazmat incident, we could be on that card to respond as well.
I know you'll
So-
respond if you need
Yeah.
to.
So I know they have a facility in Jay County over Portland, Indiana.
Mhm.
I have talked to their chief, Portland's chief, at some of the district meetings. He says they haven't had any issues with it as far as he knows yet, so. But yes, they are aware that that is outside of my jurisdiction. They still like to cover all the bases, so.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Okay. Next up, Police Department, Chief Maddox.
Just to get started, first 2 weeks in this has been a lot. So my report's definitely not as thorough as it probably could be, but doing multiple jobs at the same time is hard to focus on every little piece. So bear with me on that. I got this list last week, so trying to put it together in literally 3 or 4 days was not the easiest. Any questions on the call volume, things like that? I sent you earlier. Questions on that? Okay. We got Echo along with Chief Bittner. The flooring has been done. We have a squad room, and then the hallway between us has all been done. In different colors on the ground, so it's really neat to see the police and the fire side. You have red and then you have blue on the floor, so it's kind of neat. I'm just kind of no difference in money, just a different aesthetic. But it's nice that it's thorough flooring. We have carpet in the squad room, and as he knows, it's hard to keep that clean when you have guys coming off the road. So that's been done. I did talk to the guy that was doing the flooring. Trim's not up in the squad room. Once that's up, we'll start moving back in there. So now we're in our training room, which you're right over, that's pretty tight, trying to get all of our stuff. So the goal was to move all that stuff back this week. I talked to him, he said it should be done today or tomorrow. So hopefully by the weekend we'll be most of the way moved over there. Other than that, the building's good to go. Like I said, no real issues. We're gonna move some things, move lockers, different places, just to kind of be better for storage, because there's not a ton of storage there.
Is the lobby open yet?
It is not.
No.
That's still storage because of everything else that's been in disarray.
So I just question personal, so if I could.
There's still a phone number you call when we come out.
The last time I saw, I believe they still had caution tape up on the
They do.
handrails.
That should be okay. That should be coming
I'm
out.
not sure if
I just need to
That's
get my golf cart.
etiquette done there.
So I know what door to
the
go.
official final walkthrough of everything yet.
They at least did a punch list, so I suspect that was a result of a final walkthrough. But I've got to call Toby from Etica today,
Okay.
his request. So
I haven't seen anyone from her up there for probably
Okay.
a couple weeks.
yeah, I'll call Toby today, and then I'll circle back with you too, so you guys know.
Thank you.
But yes, you can, there's still a phone number on the wall that you can call. Someone comes out and does golf carts, does any conversations that need to be at the window just happen outside. So none of that's changed. The service is still there, it's just not the front door. So, but there's signs that said, if I recall, I think there's like 4 or 5 signs outside that say, call this number and someone will be right with you. So might not be ideal, but as of right now, that's what we have. Vehicles, I literally just got a text from Captain Lazier, just like as I was sitting here. We have 2 vehicles hopefully gonna be picked up today that are part of that lease program. Hopefully they'll be fully operational by the end of this week. and ready to roll. We have 2 that have claims on them from previous accidents. Those are getting taken care of. One already has the parts on order, should be in shortly. The other one should be fixed shortly thereafter. It has not affected like doing the job because we have enough cars right now that we can, move people back and forth as we need. But once we get these 2 new ones, it'll be a lot easier to have us set it solid and not have to worry about if one goes down, we have an extra. Equipment and facility needs. This was addressed before about our TASER program. Our TASERs are no longer able to be serviced. They don't make the batteries. They don't service the TASERs themselves. We have some that are on their last leg. So that's something we have to figure out budget-wise and how we're going to supply those. It's a big purchase up front, but we got to sit down and figure out how that's going to work budgetary-wise. I mean, it definitely doesn't fit the line item that we have in there because it's a massive start, but that's something we'll be working on in the next month or so to figure out. The other thing I have is just the vacancies. It's been a rough 2 weeks, and we've had 2 resignations in the last week. We had one just turned in that I haven't even discussed with most of the board. We had a gentleman resign Sunday in a letter. So now we are technically 4 officers down, but we have 1 that we're just awaiting public safety medical. Once that comes back, he'll start pre-basic, probably 2 weeks after we get that okay. He's already eager to start. You and I both know he has to get 2 weeks once we get that final. So it's probably going to be, by the time we get pension and everything, it'll probably be July 1, probably before we get him in to start doing pre-basic. But we'll get him in as soon as we possibly can. We're starting the process literally today. We're going to open up the process if we can get the paperwork all done, so we can start having a date for testing sometime late June, early July. We want to make sure we get an application process the right time to do it, but we're going to try to do as soon as after that as we can, as long as we get qualified applicants to do it.
What's the age cutoff?
31, 40. I don't think you have to be under 40 or under by the time of appointment. And that's just a perf requirement. I mean, there's different ways I've talked with the mayor about to figure out if there's something we can do to adjust that, because some departments have done a civilian perf and a regular 77 perf. Don't know if that's an option, but that's something we're looking at potentially to get, so we can get some guys that may be ready for retirement at 44 that might come over and pull a second pension. So we got to figure out legalities of that, because we don't know. I know Whitestown has done it, but Whitestown's no longer doing it. I've reached out, but I just got to figure out why, if that's an option. So maybe we can get those guys that are tenured that we might get at 44 or 45 that can't retire, but they still want to be the police. And that might open it up a lot for that too. We also are currently in the process of finding a replacement for Debbie Frazier, the admin coordinator. We have the applicants. We haven't whittled down to 12. So hopefully those interviews will happen later this week, early next week. And hopefully by the end of next week, we'll have an idea of what we're going to have there. Also have a vacancy potentially for the part-time clerical position in the front to kind of offset some of that, because the duties are going to definitely extend in January, as now the public assistant is going to be police and fire. So it's going to have a lot more to take on. So that's something we still have to figure out budgetarily and figure out how we're going to do that. As events, we don't have any at the moment just because we're going through a transition. I do want to give a shout out to Captain Lazier and Sergeants Randy Saltzman and Zach Huff for stepping up over the last 3 weeks. They have made that transition really seamless of handling the issues when they come up. And, we've not really skipped a beat. Yeah, scheduling is going to be a challenge because we are pretty much at a staffing minimum. I mean, we lose one more, we're under minimum. So that's a fear, but we'll move on. Hopefully this process will find some good candidates. Hopefully we can get a lateral, because the difference of a lateral and non-lateral is pretty much 10 weeks or 8 months. 8 months is putting it lightly. Like it might take up to a year to get somebody trained. Depends on what we get. So that's pretty much it again, unless you guys have questions.
Is there a risk of anybody else leaving? I know there's always a risk of someone leaving.
I don't have a solid answer for that. I mean, there's one gentleman that has mentioned that he's debating, but I don't, after talking with him in the last couple of days, I don't think that's the case. Because I think he sees the loyalty of not wanting to leave us high and dry, but I can't
Yeah.
It could be tomorrow, someone could come.
Yeah, there's always a risk. It's just,
I wasn't, with the amount of overtime that we're gonna have now, that's a potential. But we also gonna have to bring it up, and that's why I don't know if this is a plan on that or not, is vacation and holiday days, we're gonna have to figure out. 'Cause we're probably gonna have extra days that they're not gonna be able to use like in the past, and we can't do anything about that, because we can't force people to take days off and we don't have manpower to do so.
Yeah.
So that'll be something, I don't know if this is the avenue, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah.
But we're gonna try to adequately staff where we can. I'm gonna move my shifts around and try to assist coverage when I can.
I'm only speaking as one council person, but last year we had extenuating circumstances that we allowed it. This year, I think they're beyond extenuating
This is way
circumstances. You've had leadership change, you've had,
Yeah.
now we're not too short, we're 4 short.
Yeah.
I think the goal for you is just stabilization and then rebuild, basically.
And that's what we're trying to do. And like I said, all the people I've talked to on the department everyone we've talked to is willing to do the extra work, and no one's complained. We did a schedule. I think our schedule was done up to June 20th when Officer Huffman, that's his last day. We moved some of the midnights. Officer Huffman moved midnights to help cover, which was gracious of him on his last 3 weeks, is to go to midnights to help us out. So that shows the character of him as well. So if he changes his mind and wants to come back, that's a conversation I told him we could have. So but we're doing our best to get the schedule figured out, plus the SRO vacancy that we're gonna have. The letters of intent have to be put in by Friday, and then we'll do an application, an interview process with the school to verify we get the right one. But it depends on the applications, who all we have. Because I only have interest in one right now that's sent it in, but we have till Friday. So hopefully fill that before then.
If things were to drop below minimum, has there ever been like a discussion with the county? on,
There is
like,
not,
hey,
but
this-
that was a discussion I had behind closed doors with another officer.
Okay.
If we have to, that'll have to be something we'll have to address.
Yeah.
Because right now, we have a minimum staffing of 2 per shift for safety purposes.
Yeah.
But that might be a conversation we have to have and say, can we slide a county guy in as a backup officer, not necessarily take calls, but to be a backup.
Well, and I'd like to think if the county were ever in this position, we would say, hey, we can maybe cover a 2-mile jurisdiction outside the city.
And we already do.
Help out.
Like like yesterday, prime example, they had 2 fatalities last night in the county, and our guys ran multiple calls.
Yeah.
Realistically, close to town. I mean, yes, they went out a couple miles, but we didn't have a choice.
Right.
So we do go assist in that situation. So I don't see that being an issue, but I don't want to speak of that because I haven't talked to Sheriff
Right.
Teddy to verify. But if we were to get to that point, and honestly, it's a conversation we're probably gonna have anyway. Just to
Just
try
in
to,
case.
even now, if something were to happen, if someone gets sick, hey, can we
Yeah.
figure out that point? But I'm also willing to move my shifts around to help cover where I can. And we've already had that discussion with them. And so we definitely won't be uncovered. We'll just have to depend on how we figure that out. Anything else?
Only up from here.
All right.
Do you want there to be anything?
No,
Okay.
He's got enough to do.
no, I have enough.
Anything else from the board works?
No.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
Motion and second to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Meeting adjourned.
I'll be right back. Tammy, come here.
Yes.